Ever since the dawn of time, we humans have been at level 5, slowly upgrading our skill tree, unlocking vital abilities like making fire, hunting for food, and crafting basic tools. Our early game clothing? Garbage, just dog shit. Zero defense, no additional slots for charms, and negative resistance to ice damage, but hey, at least it covered up our private parts so no level 1s can stare. Naturally, we did what every caveman or women do in the lobby. We scoured the open world for loot, hoping to customize ourselves and find some cool ass outfits with huge stats. Some of us took the stealth route, crafting lightweight furs to sneak through the wild, while others maxed out their tank build, covering themselves in things like animal pelts and bones for that extra defense. And of course, the rich cavemen just skipped the grind entirely by trading shiny rocks for the best gear, but no matter what, fashion has always been a part of our progression. Whether we were fighting off saber-toothed tigers or trying to look cool in the tribe's first ever multiplayer lobby, while also impressing the nearest cave women so we can get some of that tribe pussy. Uh, I fucking wrote this shit at 2 a.m. dude, no fucking way. Fast forward to today, not much has changed. We're still out here searching for the best gear, trying to look stylish while also balancing stats, and occasionally getting frustrated when someone forces us to wear an ugly helmet just because he has better defense, and that is exactly why we're here today, to talk about fashion, or clothing, or customization in video games is an interesting case for me because they're not really as important to me as, say, a game's gameplay or combat or narrative, but if a game has a customization option, I'll definitely jump into it, and it's just one of those features that, when done right, makes my experience way more fun because having the ability to express yourself through your fashion sense in a game is fun. And of course, not every game needs to have a customization options, and it depends on the type of genre of game, like for example, horror games. Although for some reason Cry of Fear has it. What? But in games where customization does exist, it can add a whole new layer of enjoyment and make my experience with the game that much more fun. And honestly, I love it when games let me spend just as much time customizing my character as I do actually playing it. I mean, come on, a lot of my games, like a lot of my time in games and stuff like Tekken look like this. Instead of now, a lot of games, especially these days, split clothing into two categories: functional gear, where stats actually impact gameplay, and purely cosmetic outfits just to exist to make your character look cool and drip the fuck out. Functional clothing is very common in RPGs like Dark Souls or whatever, where your defense and resistances actually make a difference. On the flip side, however, purely cosmetic clothing is everywhere, from fighting games to some multiplayer online shooters like Fortnite or Call of Duty, from Modern Warfare 2019 to today with Black Ops 6, where your character's outfit has zero impact on gameplay but is the main way the game makes money, by, well, taking advantage of your sweet wallet, and yeah, I am not a huge fan of it. Look, even if a game is single player or multiplayer co-op, when clothes directly affect your gameplay, it can throw off the whole experience sometimes. I mean, sure, functional gear is important, but mixing aesthetics with stat bonuses just doesn't feel right. The best way to handle it, in my opinion, is to separate clothes entirely for pure fashion, and then have stats and perks attached to armor or gear separately. That way, you can dress your character however you want without feeling like you're sacrificing your playstyle for the sake of fashion. But when it comes to stats in role-playing games or RPGs, it's totally understandable why certain mechanics are tied to your appearance or clothing. In RPGs like Cyberpunk, Ghost of Tsushima, or the Soulsborne games like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Fashion Souls, stats are an integral part of the experience. In Cyberpunk, for example, certain outfits come with bonuses or perks, but it's really only the legendary gear that gives you extra stats, while most other clothing is purely for looks. In games like Ghost of Tsushima and the Soulsborne games, though, Every piece of armor or clothing has stats tied into it, and that's where the game's design really leans into making those choices matter. You need to decide whether you want to prioritize defense, agility, or other bonuses, and your armor reflects that. So in these kinds of games, stats on clothes make sense because they're tied directly into the mechanics and progression, encouraging players to think about how their gear affects their performance. By the way, more on Cyberpunk because I'm just obsessed. I feel like that game is a great example, not just because it's an RPG, but it's also a great example of getting the right balance of functional gear and cosmetic outfits. Look, aside from the absolutely buggy launch of the game when it first came out, when the game first launched, the game had stats attached to clothing and it was a hassle to get through because you were forced into choosing what worked best even if it didn't look great, like at all. But thankfully, CD Projekt Red did an amazing job fixing that issue with the 2.0 update and the release of the DLC Phantom Liberty. Now, only the legendary tier clothing items have stats and perks that you can upgrade, while the rest of your gear is purely cosmetic. And this change gives players the freedom to express themselves with their character's look without sacrificing any performance. You get the best of both worlds by having cool outfits without having to worry about stats and perks. Plus, the gameplay of it is mainly built around how you build your character and what kind of cyberware you have, and not based on what clothing they wear. Another game that also does this system well is Terraria, also Starbound from what I've heard, where you have two equipment rows, one for cosmetic and one for stat-based gear. So, let's say you find a chest piece that gives you a major boost. You can either put it in the cosmetic row and get the visual effect, or you can stick it in the stat row to apply its perks. This lets you freely mix and match, giving you the chance to focus on your fashion while still benefiting from powerful gear. It's a perfect system because it lets you prioritize both style and performance without feeling tied down by one or the other. Customization in video games also ties into progression, whether it's unlocking new outfits through progression, crafting better gear, or microtransaction in online games like battle passes. And some games in that genre treat clothing as just another collectible, while others, like say an open world RPG, make it a key part of their gameplay loop, like crafting armor in The Witcher 3. And the way a game handles customization can also make it way more replayable. See that? If a game lets you unlock new outfits by progressing through the main story, completing side quests, or exploring the world for hidden collectibles, it gives you more reasons to keep playing. Whether it's hunting down rare armor sets by doing quests in Skyrim, or hunting down flowers in the open world to buy clothes and their color schemes and headwear in games like Ghost of Tsushima, or replaying a level in Doom Eternal and getting batteries so you can unlock a cool looking outfit. Customization can be a huge motivation for exploring everything a game that has to offer. And this is exactly why customization makes a game's world so much more fun to explore. When there's cool clothing, gear, or accessories hidden throughout the world, it gives you a motivation to actually go out and engage with the game beyond just the main quests. Instead of just rushing through the main story, you're encouraged to check out the game's side content, complete challenges, or even just wander around to see what you can find. And although the process of unlocking outfits can be rewarding, especially unique outfits, sometimes it's nice to just buy them outright from a store instead of going on some sort of long scavenger hunt like in Red Dead 2, where some of the coolest looking outfits require you to hunt down specific animals and craft their sort of skins into clothing. And while that makes sense for the game's setting, sure, it can be frustrating if you're someone who just wants to dress up their character without going through the hassle of tracking, shooting, or skinning rare animals. And honestly, I'm not even the type of guy who just enjoy hunting or fishing in games, and I'd much rather just go to a clothing store and buy whatever I want with the money that I earn from quests, which I feel like is much better, and people should do it often instead of wasting their time. Yeah. Games that give you both options to earn rare outfits through exploration and let you buy normal ones from a store are usually the best because they respect both playstyles. But of course, there's also the question of how much outfit stats affect your playstyle. In some games, stats don't really matter, but in others like Dark Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, or Skyrim, where your choice of outfit can have a major impact on gameplay. Do you go for heavy armor that slows you down but gives you better protection, or do you stick with lighter clothing that keeps you fast and agile? Some players don't mind sacrificing stats for fashion, while others want the best gear no matter how it looks. And let's be real, we've all had that moment where we wanted to wear a cool outfit but the stats were just so ass to justify it. What I said earlier at the beginning of the video about games that let you spend more time customizing your character than actually playing them, they are just absolutely amazing, just nothing short of amazing. There's just something special about sitting in a menu for hours, just adjusting every little detail, every nook and cranny, swapping out color palettes, or meticulously crafting a build before getting into a fight. And it kind of feels like it's an entirely separate game, but within a game. And the fact that developers put so much effort into these systems is what makes them so enjoyable. But there is one game series that absolutely takes the cake in terms of depth and complexity, and if you've never played it, you're missing out. You're missing out on what I think is one of the most satisfying customization systems ever created. And yes, I'm talking about holy shit, I love this series so much, man. I'm not even joking. Not only is it because it's made by the same people that worked on Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne, aka FromSoft, or because I like mecha, but the customization options are just so in-depth that it's pretty much a game in and of itself. And honestly, the main reason I'm even making this video is because of how ridiculously detailed the customization is in Armored Core. And if you love customizing as much as I do, then Armored Core is a game that basically lets you live out all of your design dreams no matter how they look. I mean, you can literally turn your Armored Core into any Gundam model or Transformers character or any unit from Evangelion, and it's just absolutely perfect because why not? The level of detail in Armored Core's customization, especially in 6, is amazing, and it lets you tweak parts and proportions and paint jobs to match whatever design you're aiming for, even if they don't end up being a one-to-one exact replica, except if you use mods. As long as you get the color scheme right, you can make something just recognizable while still having your own unique twist to it. And while the game isn't meant for perfect recreations, that's honestly part of the fun. It forces you to get creative with the parts available, as long as you have the money for it, making it feel like an actual mech building challenge instead of just a copy-paste job. Sure, your Bumblebee or Unit 01 build might have a slightly different chest plate or head shape, but when you go on missions or get into the PvP arena mode and see that color scheme, you know exactly what you were going for, and it's just one of those things that makes Armored Core feel like a true sandbox for mech fans or non-mech fans, but recognize certain IPs, whether you're making an original design, fine-tuning a competitive build, or just recreating your favorite giant robot from anime, movies, or other games. The customization is so deep that you're guaranteed to end up with something that feels uniquely yours and make you say,
"See that boy? I'm the one who raised him."
Now, the beauty of Armored Core customization is that it doesn't just affect the way your mech looks, but it also directly impacts how it performs in battle. You can tweak every single part of your mech, from the body to the legs to the weapons and even the color scheme, but it's not just about choosing what looks cool. Every part you choose has a tangible impact on your mech stats and abilities. Wanna go fast? Pick lightweight parts that give you more agility, but at the cost of lower defense, making even a gust of wind kill you because your Armored Core is stronger than XQC. But go fast as shit like you have Toji's Heavenly restriction. Prefer becoming a bullet sponge and slowly bulldoze enemies? Go for heavier, more durable parts that make you a juggernaut but slow you down, sometimes anyway. It's the kind of system where even the tiniest decision about which arm or leg you choose can completely change on how you approach combat. And it's not just about the mechanical parts of the mech. This series is built on the idea of builds and loadouts, or meta builds if you're one of those people. So, if you have any money for it, you can pick out pretty much any type of weapon you want to equip, from missiles to rifles to energy weapons to lasers, and even combine them in any way you see fit. If you want to be a sniper and stay at a distance, go for longer range weapons. Or you could go in full assault and equip double machine guns with heavy artillery, but watch out for ammo when you're doing it, because they will charge you for using ammo, except if you use any sort of energy-based weapons. Even then, they will wear your AC out, because both your booster and energy weapon use, you guess it, energy. So, over-relying on the same type of thing isn't really a viable option, as you need to mix and match, especially because later games get more and more difficult, and the game doesn't hold your hand in this process. It expects you to balance your mech's weight and movement speed based on the weapons you choose. And the customization just feels like a puzzle sometimes, since you're constantly tweaking and adjusting to find that perfect balance between, or not really between, but the perfect balance of power, speed, and endurance pretty much. But the real magic comes from how Armored Core basically rewards you for experimenting. Every mission you take on can be approached with a completely different strategy, depending on how you customized your mech. The game's difficulty scales with the type of mech you're piloting. So, if you're going for a super fast, agile build, you need to constantly be on your toes, constantly dodging and dodging and dodging. But if you're running a tank build, you can just charge straight into the action and absorb massive damage while also dishing out massive blows, and there's this almost infinite variety in how you can approach every mission, whether you want to be a fighter up close, a sniper, or a support unit, and that's where the fun of the customization really shines. And another cool thing about Armored Core is how it lets you tailor your mech for specific situations, because there's a ton of gear and equipment that you can unlock as you progress through the game. And sometimes you need to make a decision based on the mission you're about to take on. If you're up against air units, you might want to equip a set of anti-air weapons like missiles. Or if you're up against a bunch of ground-based enemies like small NTs or just ACs, maybe you want to go for more explosive shots like grenade launchers or machine guns, if you will. This aspect of customization makes the game feel super tactical. You're not just picking parts based on their looks or even their stats. You're choosing based on the strategy you need to use in that particular fight. And this gives Armored Core a level of replayability that's hard to match in other games, because every new mission or challenge can be approached in a completely different way depending on how you build your mech. What's even cooler is that the customization goes beyond just your combat performance. Like I said earlier, you can also change the aesthetic of your mech, which is a big part of what makes Armored Core stand out. Customizing the look of your mech isn't just a cosmetic thing, it's about creating something that feels like your machine. You can choose from a ton of color schemes to even decals. It's even better when you take your customized AC into the game's multiplayer mode and show them off to other players. Like, just imagine losing a duel to an Armored Core that has a Neko Arc decal or a student driver decal. I'd either be mad or just impressed with that level of disrespect. And what makes Armored Core even more special is that it feels like the game is constantly rewarding you for your decision. As you progress through missions, story, you unlock more parts, gear, and weapons, which allows you to tweak and improve your build even further. It's like this loop of progression where every new part you unlock opens up new possibilities for your mech and your strategy. And because the game just doesn't give you the best gear outright, it really encourages you to experiment and figure out what works best for you over time. So yeah, in a way, Armored Core just takes the entire concept of customization in video games and multiply it by 100. And if you're someone who loves the idea of customizing every single aspect of your character, or in this case your mech, then Armored Core is one of the best examples of how in-depth and satisfying it can get. And if you haven't checked out Armored Core yet, I seriously can't recommend it enough, man. It's the kind of series that'll make you spend as much time in the menus, customizing your mech as you do fighting. And to me, it's a whole ass experience that's built around customization. And if you love that sort of thing, it's definitely a series you need to try out.